Husker Nation, Matt Rhule said that Nebraska has a huge opportunity in front of us these last 3 games, the bowl games. The program is at a crossroads and everybody's got to step up. He's talking about the players, he's talking about the coaches. He was talking about everybody in Nebraska and in Husker Nation. I'm not going to lie to you. When it came to predicting this game, this was the hardest prediction for me to make all year. Yeah, I picked the bad guys last week. That was the toughest one, because I had to pick the bad guys. This was the hardest one because I truly didn't know who to pick. Let's have a discussion, shall we? Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Checking the pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by DPS Concrete Construction. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. Also, carrikerchronicles.com. It's where all your Husker sports hopes and dreams will come true, ladies and gentlemen. It's like Albert Einstein once said, it's just a science. If you're like me and you don't care if the good guys score one more point or more, but just one more point than the bad guys. Now, I've only called the opposing team the bad guys once this entire year. Does that give away my prediction? Maybe you have to stay tuned until the end. But if you want Nebraska, and you don't give a crap how it looks really, you want it to look good, but if it looks butt ugly, a win is a beautiful thing, and that would make you happy. One more point for the good guys and the bad guys. Smash the like button. Also, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe and or ring that notification bell. Some of us around here are trying to get to 50,000 followers. I mean, I'm just saying. I did notice quite a few things. Here's one thing I noticed right off the bat. 3 straight opponents that play us have a bye week right before they play us. USC, UCLA, and Penn State. What's up with that, Big Ten? Just saying. I will say this, the Bruins after us, they play at number 1 Ohio State, number 24 Washington, and at number 20 USC. So they don't exactly have an easy road, but I don't really care about them. All right, Nebraska. We're very evenly matched teams. Nebraska allows on average 19.8 points per game. UCLA scores on average 20.4 points per game. UCLA outgains their opponents by an average of 53 yards per game. The Huskers outgain their opponents by an average of 53 yards per game. The Huskers average 33 points per game offensively. Obviously, we've got a new quarterback, and we're going to chat about him just a smidge, but UCLA allows 31 points per game defensively to their opponents, and Nebraska's offense averages 387 yards per game. UCLA's defense allows 379 yards per game. Currently, the Bruins are a 2.5-point favorite, which is basically home field. Most people would give the benefit of the doubt to the home team by about 3 points. Now, it depends on the home field. If it's like a night game, maybe the Whiteout or in Death Valley and LSU, and I know both those teams have fired their coaches, but just bear with me here. That's typically worth more than 3 points. When you got 8 people watching a game out in Pasadena, maybe it's worth a half a point. I don't know. We're a 2.5-point underdog. The over-under, they expect it to be pretty low scoring. Vegas, anyways, is set at 44.5 points. All right. Let's light this candle. Nebraska heads to the West Coast this weekend, traveling to California to take on the UCLA Bruins on Saturday. The matchup from the historic Rose Bowl is set for 8 p.m. Central Time kickoff. Thank you for that, by the way, for those of us who get to stay up till 3 a.m. and in love covering this football team. All right, with the game televised on Fox, Nebraska comes into the game with a 6-3 overall record, 3-3 in the Big Ten. The matchup with UCLA is the second between the schools as Big Ten opponents following the Bruins' unfortunate victory in Lincoln last year. UCLA enters Saturday's game with a 3-5 overall record and a 3-2 mark in Big Ten conference play. The Bruins have won 3 of their past 4 games over the last month, with the only one loss on the road at second-ranked Indiana. The Bruins are led by interim head coach Tim Skipper, who has led UCLA over the past 5 games. UCLA features a potent offense in recent weeks, averaging better than 33 points per game during a 3-game win streak in October. The Bruins are one of the most efficient teams at finishing drives, ranking first in the Big Ten and 6th nationally by converting 96% of their red zone trips into scores. Nebraska, on the other hand, has limited first 9 opponents to less than 400 yards of total offense, one of just 10 FBS teams in the country to achieve that feat. The last time Nebraska held its first 9 opponents to less than 400 yards was back in 2009. Not a half-bad defense that year, when Nebraska limited its first 11 opponents to fewer than 400 yards. Nebraska has held 8 of 9 opponents this season to fewer than 160 yards passing. The Blackshirts held USC to 135 yards passing last week, the fewest by the Trojans in the past past 83 games. Nebraska ranks second nationally in passing yards allowed per game. Also, you probably heard this by now, but we're going to mention a couple times on this show. Nebraska junior running back Emmett Johnson has posted the first 1,000-yard rushing season for a Husker since 2018. Johnson has 5 100-yard rushing games this season, including 3 of the past 4 games, and we still got 3 games left to play this year, plus a bowl game. The Huskers are seeking their first win at the Rose Bowl since 1993. A little bit of the history. Huskers, Bruins, history. Nebraska and UCLA will meet for the 15th time overall, and the second time as Big Ten opponents. Nebraska and UCLA are tied at 7 wins apiece in the all-time series. UCLA owns a 4-2 edge in games played out in LA or Pasadena, and the schools have split 4 games at the Rose Bowl. Prior to last season, the most recent meeting between the schools came in the 2015 Foster Farms Bowl at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, with Nebraska winning 37-29. I remember watching that game. UCLA we were 5-7 in that game, by the way, because under 500 teams go to bowl games. I digress. UCLA was Nebraska's most frequent non-conference opponent, I did not know this, in a 12-year span from 1983 to 1994, when the two schools met 6 times. Nebraska won 5 of those matchups and entered each of the 6 games ranked in the top 10, including first or second on 5 occasions. Nebraska head coach Matt Rhule was a member of the UCLA coaching staff in 2001, and also legendary Nebraska coach Tom Osborne earned his first victory in 1973 and 100th career victory in 1983 over the Bruins. Saturday night's game will mark Nebraska's 10th game in the state of California this century, including a 2012 matchup against the Bruins in Pasadena. Nebraska has also played 2 road games at USC, a road game at Fresno State in 2014, 3 Holiday Bowls, a Foster Farms Bowl, and the Rose Bowl following the 2001 season. Nebraska's visit to the Rose Bowl on Saturday will mark the Huskers' 7th all-time game in the stadium. Nebraska played at UCLA in 1984, 88, 93, and 2012, and appeared in the Rose Bowl game following the 1940 and 2001 seasons. 6 current Huskers have a homecoming going back to California. Andrew Marshall, Isaiah Hunter, Sierra Wright, Jacob Bauer, Sua Lefotu, and TJ Lateef are going back to California to play this weekend. Now, I've talked multiple times about how Nebraska spreads the ball all over the field in their passing game. 19 different players have caught a pass this season. 10 different players have a catch of at least 20 yards or more this season. Now, that's awesome. That's phenomenal. We got guys who've not gotten the ball enough, who need to get the ball more going forward to help our team, to help our offense, to help our quarterback. Those guys are Ja'Cory Barney and Dane Key. Now, Isaiah Hunter has become our leading receiver. That's awesome. Let's get the ball to those other 2 guys as well. Let's use our 3 main playmakers on the outside. Just my quiet, humble thoughts. Now, this is the type of game where other guys are going to have to step up. We know that. It's been talked about. It's not a secret. The 6 team captains. Now, Dylan Raiola is not traveling out there because he's having surgery, but he needs to maintain being a leader for TJ Lateef in practice, day in and day out, as much as he can while he recovers from surgery. But the other 5 team captains that will be out there, Henry Latufsky, Dane Key, Marquise Buford Jr., Deshaun Singleton, and Sierra Wright. This is the time they've got to step up the most. You look at the single-digit number jersey earners and wearers as well. Guys like Javin Wright, Sierra Wright, Ja'Cory Barney Jr., Marquise Buford Jr., Janiran Bonner, who's recovering from an injury, I know, but he's still around the facility, Riley Van Poppel, Dane Key, Malcolm Hartzog Jr., Deshaun Singleton, Vincent Shavers. These guys aren't being called out by me. These guys are leaders, and they're seen as some of the toughest guys in that locker room, which is why they're captains. Everyone I just mentioned, or single-digit guys who earn single-digit numbers. These are the guys that need to step up right here, right now, more than ever. Before we dive into UCLA's season just a little bit, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, DPS Concrete Construction. You can check them out at dpsconstruction.net. Concrete work, retaining wall work, nobody does it better. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. If this is the type of work you want done and or need done, go to dpsconstruction.net. If this is the type of work you do. Jason Armstrong and this company is the guy in the company that you want to work for. Go to dpsconstruction.net. Also, Husker Auto Group. Ladies and gentlemen, check them out at huskerAutoGroup.com. Husker Chevrolet and GMC have aggressive pricing on 2025 model Silverados and Sierras up to $11,000 off of MSRP. APR as low as 2.9% financing with approved credit. See dealer for details. Husker Chevrolet and GMC also has a great selection of 3/4-ton Silverado and Sierra trucks. Husker Chevrolet and GMC is locally owned and operated. Husker Auto Group is conveniently located off North 27th and I-80 in North Lincoln. Also available 24/7 at HuskerAutoGroup.com. Let's talk about the matchups. Let's talk about the keys. Let's talk about what we need to do offensively, defensively. First, let's learn a little bit more about the other guys, the bad guys. All right. Interim head UCLA football coach Tim Skipper. His first season at UCLA, 3-2 record. Tim Skipper was named UCLA's interim head coach on September 14th after previously serving as a special assistant to the head coach under Deshaun Foster earlier this year. Last season, Skipper became Fresno State's interim head coach on July of 2024 and guided the Bulldogs to a 6-7 record and a bowl appearance. Now again, UCLA has Big Ten victories over Penn State, Michigan State, and Maryland. They dominated Michigan State. More than we did. Just for perspective, Bruins are averaging 344 yards per game with 184 yards per game through the air and 161 yards per game on the ground. Nico Iamaleava leads the UCLA rushing attack with 81 carries for 388 yards and 4 touchdowns. I'm just going to put this out there. They're not an option team. So when your quarterback leads your team in rushing and you're not an option team, you're not great at running the football. All right, in the passing game, Iamaleava has completed 148 of 234 passes for 1,468 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. That is not a good touchdown to interception ratio. Just for perspective, the next leading rusher on UCLA's team doesn't even have 250 yards total rushing this year. He has 249. So technically I'm right, but it's Jalen Berger. Okay, let's look at UCLA as an overall whole. I'm just going to give you their national stats and how they stack up. When it comes to rushing offense, 124th in the country. When it comes to passing offense, 108th in the country. Total offense, 101st in the country. Scoring offense, 113th in the country. When it comes to rushing offense, they're dead last in the Big Ten. Now, when it comes to rushing offense for us, we're 94th in the country, averaging 135 yards per game. When it comes to rushing defense, they're last in the Big Ten. When it comes to total defense, they're 4th from the bottom of the Big Ten. Scoring defense, 3rd from the bottom of the Big Ten. When it comes to Nebraska, we're 93rd in the country when it comes to rush defense. And we are 13th in the country when it comes to total defense. When it comes to third down defense, UCLA is dead last in the Big Ten. 134th in the country, so almost dead last in the country. We are 24th in the country when it comes to third down defense. Our opponents convert 32.8% of the time. Red zone offense, they're first. I mentioned this earlier. They're first in the Big Ten. When they get in the red zone, they score. They don't waste opportunities, and they're top 10 in the country. In fact, they're 6th overall in the country in red zone offense. Nebraska, on the other hand, is in the bottom half of the Big Ten when it comes to red zone offense. We have a ginormous advantage in special teams. Punt returns, they're 108th in the country. Punt return defense, so when we kick to them, we're 3rd in the country. I feel like we can pin them deep in their territory repeatedly in this particular game. All right, let's see what we got next. Kick returns. We are 3rd in the country. They're 105th in the country when it comes to kick returns. And penalties, they are absurdly undisciplined. I thought USC was undisciplined. UCLA is dead last in the Big Ten in penalties and dead last in the Big Ten in penalty yards. Now, this is almost a tale of 2 seasons. I wonder if it's a tale of 3 seasons for UCLA. There is pre-Deshaun Foster getting fired, and then there's that 3 games they won out of their last 4 games. Now, they've had a bye week this past week, as I pointed out earlier. To be fair, is this a different team than the team that started 0-4 and never once had a lead in those first 4 games and lost to 2 G5 teams by an average of 17 points in those 2 losses they had to those 2 G5 teams? They have a winning record in the Big Ten. They're 3-2. They have won 3 of their last 4 games. I can't help but wonder if they've lost momentum since the Indiana game. They lost by 50 points. It was 56-6. They had a bye week. I was on a Rams team. Our head coach got fired after 2 games. It was bad. We went out, we won our next 2 games. We had momentum. Then we had a bye week. Then I don't think we won the rest of the season. I wonder if this is the 3rd part of the season where they lose momentum for UCLA because the Indiana game went so bad, or does this second part of the season continue for them with a bunch of momentum? They got a bunch of tough games after us, as I already mentioned. I don't know. Do UCLA lose their momentum, or do they still have it? That's a big question coming into this game for UCLA. Now, you talk about other parts of this team needing to step up. I just looked up random things. When's the last time we had a player on defense have 3 or more sacks? That's a lot, by the way. It's a lot. We need somebody to step up and do a lot. As a team, as an individual, whatever it takes. The last time was Randy Gregory at Michigan, November 9, 2013. All right, what about a couple of interceptions? More than 2 interceptions by one player was Matt O'Hanlon. He had 3 versus Oklahoma, November 7, 2009. First of all, I remember that game really, really well. But we need somebody to step up with an outlier in a very good way type performance, and the team as a whole too. You look at special teams. Now, when's the last time we had a kick return for a touchdown? This year. Block punt? This year. Block punt return for a touchdown? This year. Block field goal? This year. Because you go look up things that haven't happened for a long time in Nebraska. Most of these things haven't happened for years, like 400-yard passing game, 300-yard rushing game. When it comes to special teams, that's a lot of stuff that's happened this year. You know what hasn't happened? A punt return for a touchdown? I'm not saying it has to happen. I'm saying we have a huge edge on special teams, and the special teams could be a gigantic difference maker in this game. What about a block punt for a safety? I don't know, off the wall things, but off the wall things make the difference in games like this. Also, block field goal return for a touchdown. Let's take 3 points off the board for them and get 7 for us. That's a 10-point swing. I'm just throwing things out there. Who knows what will happen? All right, let's start to chat about this just a little bit. We got to be able to move the ball more consistently than we did the second half versus USC. We know that. We had 8 drives of 25 yards or less versus the Trojans. I think we're going to do a little bit better than that now. Now, I will say this. We're going to probably be an underdog every game the rest of this season. UCLA, Penn State, Iowa, the bowl game. When you look at the bowl game, like we're projected, depending on where we go and how we finish, like the Citrus Bowl wants us. Those are the types of bowls that want us because Nebraska travels. We do have a big brand. And if we win some games, that's where we're going to go. We would play teams like, we're slotted to play teams like maybe Texas if they don't make the college football playoff, maybe a team like Oklahoma if they don't make it, some LSU, somebody like that. So we're probably going to be underdog in every single game. So when I said earlier this week, we still need to win 8 games, I'm not moving the goalpost. I meant it. And I'll tell you why. First of all, we should have either beaten Minnesota, Michigan, or USC. We should have found a way to win one of those games. So we had more wins and less losses right now. That being the case, this is a huge opportunity, and Matt Rhule is right. It's a crossroads for Nebraska football right now. It's a crossroads because we went from being the more talented team on the field than our opponents more often than not to now we're the underdogs going forward. Now we don't have the most experienced quarterback. We have a talented quarterback, an athletic quarterback, a guy who can frickin' make plays at quarterback. But all of a sudden, opportunities are not born out of having things in your favor. When people feel like you have the advantage. Respect, Matt Rhule talked about earning respect for this program, for this team, and building something going forward. Respect is earned when you win big games, or when you pull off upsets, or when you find a way to do things you haven't done before, and that's win as an underdog, and that's make adjustments in the game that help you to win a game when you usually start fast and then the other team adjusts, and then in-game adjustments have been questioned at times this year. There's been some good, there's been some things that people are like, I don't know, I would have done a little bit differently. This is an opportunity for this team to make a statement, to earn respect. Okay, they're in a bit of a hole right now. I don't even know it's their own fault. This is part of football. People get injured. People get hurt. All right, Gunnar Gatula. We have 2 starting offensive tackles that are out this year, from Teddy Prohaska to Gunnar Gatula. They both started games this year. Our starting quarterback is out. It's part of football. There's a hole that we're in right now. Respect is earned when you crawl out of that hole and you do something that people aren't expecting you to do. When you are an underdog and things are stacked against you, that's what's called an opportunity. An opportunity isn't when things are in your favor. An opportunity to earn respect is when there's doubts. If somebody said, Adam, is Nebraska going to win 8 games by the end of this season, including the bowl game, right here, right now, I'll be honest with you. I don't know that I would predict that we will win 8 games. We need to win 8 games for everything that I just mentioned and the momentum it would build going forward for the University of Nebraska recruiting. Hey, we just got a big-time commit. Number 1 tight end in the entire country, Ahmad Hudson, is very, very interested. Kind of seems like he might commit. That 2027 class is building, and it's exciting. We'll see how the 2026 class wraps up. But this is an opportunity and a crossroads where we're going to be overlooked and underestimated, and it's an opportunity for the coaching staff to outcoach other teams. Not walk on the field with a more talented team and maybe we do or don't win the game, but to walk on the field when people are overlooking and underestimating us, and maybe rightfully so until we prove otherwise, and then you earn respect. These are the types of opportunities where you can change a program or at least build a whole lot of momentum going forward. Before we dive into this further, I want to give a shout out to another sponsor, Allen Capital Group. Check them out at allencapgroup.com. That's ALLENCAP group.com. Allen Capital Group is a homegrown Nebraska business with offices in Grand Island, Ogallala, and Omaha. They will work to understand what is meaningful to your financial needs, wants, and wishes. They personally helped me navigate my finances for years, myself, my family. Nothing puts your mind more at ease than knowing your finances, which is is one of the biggest stressors a person can have. Nothing puts your mind more at ease than knowing your finances are in the hands of people who know what they're doing and they genuinely care about their clients. Check out their website again at allencapgroup.com. Allen Capital Group, next level solutions for next level needs. They have offices in Grand Island, Ogallala, Scottsbluff, and Omaha. Now let's talk about some of the things that we may or may not see in this particular game when it comes to game planning. Number one, first and foremost, you got to let TJ Lateef be TJ Lateef. The instant reaction that some people give me is, well, what if TJ gets hurt? I get it. It's a risk. It's a risk. It's a risk we have to take. Because the one thing we know he can do right now, we know he's got a big arm. He wasn't just here in winter conditioning and spring practice. He was here for bowl prep, if you remember that. He's been here. He's been putting in the work and the time. But he doesn't have a ton of experience. He's never started a game, okay? So when it comes to his ability and his potential to make big plays, dude, it's through the roof. It's also through the floor just because it's unpredictable. That's not an indictment on him. That's just the reality of the situation. But the one thing we know he can do unequivocally that isn't unpredictable, he can run. I'm not saying we got to put Harburg at fullback and run the triple option offense. I don't know, maybe we do. And I know some fans that will love that. I wouldn't expect it. I do think we incorporate read option. I do think we make it simple for him mentally. He's not a guy that didn't appear ready to me to make 1, 2, 3 reads. That's okay. I played with a guy in DC who won Rookie of the Year, Robert Griffin III, RG3. He was in the NFL, won the Rookie of the Year, and it was very simple for him. It was a lot of read option. It was a lot of RPO, okay, run pass option, and it was really, you got one read, maybe there's a check down to the back, or maybe there's a safety valve, and if it ain't there, take off. It was really that simple for him for a while. For quite a while, to be honest with you. With TJ, I mean, maybe you give him a safety valve, maybe you don't. Maybe you give him one read, hey, if it ain't there, take off. I would like one read safety valve. You can do flood routes, all right? So you got like a corner route, you got like a 15-yard out, and then you got something in the flat. So 1, 2, 3. So it's easy 1, 2, 3 progression, but even then, that's still 3 reads in 1, which he's capable of doing. But live game reps on the road in a Big Ten conference play is just different. So make it as simple for him as you can. Give him a lot of read options. Let's get the running game involved, maybe 60-40 when it comes to run versus pass. And they're dead last in the Big Ten when it comes to running the football, or stopping the run and running the football. UCLA is. So this might play well into what we want to do. Maybe this helps our short yardage struggles we've had at times this year. Maybe it helps our red zone struggles we've had at times this year. Just creating another dynamic. That's how I see it. Keep it simple. Let him play fast. Let him have the option of one read, maybe a safety valve, and then he can take off. What I know is that it is a risk, because what if he gets hurt? And I used this analogy earlier in another show this week. I said it's almost like a basketball game. If you're a coach and you've got a key player in a game and he gets 2 fouls before halftime, you got to pull him out. You can't get a third foul, a cheap foul right before halftime. If you got about 10 minutes left to go in the game, it's like, all right, if he's got 3 fouls, that's okay. But if he's got 4, you got to pull him out. You get to 5 minutes left in the game, I don't care if you've got 4 fouls or not. You got to play. Because it's worth the risk, and you got to do what you got to do to win the game. That's kind of how I feel with letting him use his legs and keeping it simple for him mentally, and letting him be able to use the talent and ability that he has and play fast. Also, I can't wait to see what Dana Holgorsen comes up with game plan wise for him. As a game plan, it wasn't built around him for USC, and that's okay. Dana Holgorsen's going to have a week to get creative, to use what TJ Lateef can do. And I would, if I'm TJ Lateef, I sit down with Rhule, I sit down with Holgorsen, I'm like, this is what I like. And these are the plays that I know and I'm comfortable with, and then Holgorsen can build from there. I wouldn't hate to see some things that maybe we saw at West Virginia a little bit, maybe at Houston back in the day, okay, when he had a little bit more, quarterbacks are a little bit more likely to use their legs, at least at times that he did. It wouldn't surprise me if we see some things like that. I don't know what we're going to see. It's going to be interesting. This is wildly unpredictable. I just know that I'm tired of everything having to be perfect for us to win. Oh, we have to have the easy schedule. To be clear, nobody said this. Nobody said it out loud. It's just how I feel. Oh, we got to have the more talented team. Oh, we had to go halfway across the country to Maryland. Then we had to go to Minnesota on a short week. So what? I'm tired of everything having to be perfect. I talked about this before. Iowa beat us with the third-string walk-on quarterback last year. Teams have won Super Bowls with backup quarterbacks. Teams have won national championships with third-string quarterbacks. USC beat us with he's not a normal third-string running back, but he was still a third-string running back. In 1994, we had a third-string walk-on quarterback named Matt Turman who led Nebraska to a victory over an undefeated 4-0, number 16 in the country, Kansas State team. By the way, did you know the defense held Kansas State to minus 22 rushing yards that game? It's about everyone's game elevating around TJ. It's not just about TJ. It's about the coaches elevating. It's an opportunity for them to show what they can do in a very positive manner. It's about the players around him elevating, and it's about putting TJ in the best position possible to be successful and let his talent, ability, and potential shine through. Because there's going to be some mistakes. There's going to be some things that we're like, oh, here we go. That's going to be part of it, and it's okay. Because if you don't expect that, I don't know what to tell you. Here's another thing I'll point out. Everyone is so concerned about Iowa. Iowa's a good team. I did point out who they've got left to play this year. You know they've only beaten one team with a winning record so far this year. Now, they've had our number. I'm not sitting here talking trash. We ain't earned the right to talk trash then. They've only beaten one team with a winning record this year. We've only beaten two, by the way. We beat Cincinnati and Northwestern. By the way, Cincinnati's 25th in the country. Iowa's ranked 26th. So technically, we beat a team that's ahead of Iowa. Okay, their one win against a team with a winning record was Minnesota. Minnesota's 5-3. So my point is, we have a lot to prove. They have a lot to prove. And I don't mean to jump ahead to Iowa, but I'm tired of hearing people say, oh, Iowa's going to kill us. Iowa's going to kill us. Well, let's take it one game at a time. Let's see how we look this weekend versus UCLA. And then we got a bye week. And then we play Penn State. And then we'll welcome Iowa into here. And they will have played a bunch of ranked teams at that point, Oregon, USC, etc. And we'll see how they look at that point. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to the keys to the game, it's all about perspective and how you look at it. Because I said we need to win 8 games, and I was like, I don't know if we're going to win 8 games. In fact, I may not predict that we win 8 games as we sit right here, right now. But this is an opportunity at a crossroads for this university and this program to earn respect and to do something that can keep people pretty excited. But it's all about how you look at things. Remember the movie Jaws? If you watch Jaws backwards, it is the heartwarming story about a shark who gives arms and legs to people who need them. Here's what Michael Severe had to say about TJ Lateef. TJ Lateef, quick release, really accurate, gets his feet right on his delivery, moves well in the pocket, and has plus mobility. A lot of quick stuff, but also pushes the ball down the field. He does stand tall in the pocket and has a high release. Reminds me of a young CJ Stroud, obviously talking about potential and what he can do. All right, let's get to the keys to the game. Number 1, the coaches and the players need to rally around TJ Lateef. The coaches need to coach their best game of the year, and players and everybody else need to step up. All right, Minnesota was an outlier game, in my opinion, in a not great direction. Can UCLA be an outlier game for Nebraska in a very positive direction? Number 2, let TJ Lateef be TJ Lateef. Okay, I've kind of already talked about that a little bit, but utilize his strengths. All right, and I can't wait to see what Holgorsen does with him and what he's able to do once he's got his feet wet and a week worth of reps and working with the ones under his belt. All right, so number 1, everybody elevates their level of play around him. Number 2, put him in the best position possible for him to be successful based on what his physical talents, ability allow him to do, and his mental comfortability allow him to do as well. Number 3, limit the run. This is the worst rushing offense in the Big Ten, ladies and gentlemen. The last time we played the worst rushing offense in the Big Ten, at that point in the season, was Maryland. They ran the ball for almost 40 yards above their season average. We cannot allow that to happen again. By the way, they're 124th in the country when it comes to rushing as well. Number 4, this is 2 of the most unpredictable teams in the country. Who and what is UCLA right now? Who and what is Nebraska right now? They have maybe the most unpredictable quarterback in America. He has first-round talent and undrafted consistency. We have a guy with, I'll just say it, first, second-round talent, but it's his first start ever, and he's a true freshman. So they're unpredictable. We're unpredictable. So many things are unpredictable. Here's my 4th key. 4 keys to this game. In-game management, because something's going to come up that nobody could foresee happening, and we've got to be able to adjust and handle it on the fly. In-game coaching, management, and adjustments. All right, here's my prediction. The good guys, 24. The other guys, they're not the bad guys, because they're going to score 20. Or I have no idea what the score is going to be. Honestly, this is just my prediction. And here's why I came to this. Because the toughest game for me to predict was USC last week, because I knew I was going to predict USC all week, and that's just tough for me to predict the opponent. This was the hardest game all year for me to predict, because I legit had no idea who I was going to predict to win. This game's so wildly unpredictable. Here's what it came down to. It came down to this for me. I could see us winning close. I could see UCLA winning close. If I'm being honest with you, if UCLA lost their momentum and they kind of fold their tents again like they've shown us they'll do the first month of the season, I could see us blowing them out. What I didn't foresee is UCLA blowing us out because they're not a great running team. Nico Iamaleava is so wildly inconsistent, and our pass defense is good. I just don't think they're going to put up a bunch of points, which is what it would take to blow us out. And that's slightly put the scales in our favor of the odds of us. We're going to win close. I don't think we blow them out, but the odds of us blowing them out are greater than them blowing us out, or they could win close. And that's why I picked Nebraska. All right, ladies and gentlemen, these questions are brought to you by Husker Auto Group. Check them out at huskerautogroup.com. Also, you can follow me on the social medias, Facebook, X, and TikTok. First question, let me know your answer in the comments below. What's your single biggest key to Nebraska beating UCLA? Number 2, what's your score prediction for the Huskers and Bruins? And number 3, again, we got a running quarterback. We've got a 1,000-yard rusher. I think he's the Big Ten leading rusher. I'd have to double check that. But UCLA's got the worst rush defense in the country. And also 124th rush defense, just like their rush offense in the country. Will Nebraska rush for 200 yards in this game? Go Big Red Nose. Remember, throw the ball.